Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good morning to all of you. Mr. David Sidney, my friend, ministers, ambassadors, entrepreneurs, members of the American University of Afghanistan, members of civil society, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum to all of you. I'm very happy, first of all, to see the American University of Afghanistan restarted a week ago, a symbol of partnership between Afghanistan and the United States, and a lasting partnership in the educational field, a center of excellence in its own term. I congratulate you, Mr. David Sidney, your colleagues, professors and students in the university. A few years ago, when the International Center for Afghan Women Economic Development was established, I was there during that ceremony in the American University of Afghanistan. Today, to see that this international forum starts working on a very important issue and subject. You yourself mentioned, Mr. David Sidney, that only 3% of the entrepreneurs in Afghanistan are women, which shows that in spite of all our efforts, we are ways behind our goals in this respect. The past 15 years, due to the steadfastness in being on the scene in the struggle of the Afghan women in support that they received from the government and also the international partners of Afghanistan, things have changed. We are no longer talking that much about exposing women to education, which was denied from them by the forces of darkness in this country, or certain other steps which have been taken in the past 15 years. We are in a different place, in a different situation, but nevertheless, in different fields, including the role of women in business, we are not where we ought to be, far from it. The role of the women entrepreneurs in the economic development and also in women empowerment has been widely recognized. It's not a factor that it will stand alone on its own merit. It will be affected by certain other factors: the political will and the political leadership, the cultural issues, the social issues, the communities which are involved, the role of education, the role of women themselves as well as men as support, their support role. Altogether, all these factors are affecting our progress or lack of progress in this field. And hopefully this forum will provide an opportunity, and it is a unique opportunity where women from different walks of life have gathered here, especially women entrepreneurs, which some of them have made headlines because of their success in the country as well as outside Afghanistan. That's a unique opportunity, and I'm sure that during your interactions in the coming 3 days, you will be able to highlight the main challenges which are there and identify the right directions and guide us as the government of Afghanistan, national unity government of Afghanistan, where we can step in order to support your efforts and at the same time mobilize, make a sort of mobilization amongst yourself, because your collective power as women of Afghanistan, as representatives of more than half of the population of this country, that in itself cannot be underestimated. So it's a unique opportunity. In our own part, I'm chairing a subcommittee of the Council of Ministers on Women and Children, which in a few days' time we'll be establishing an executive committee for that, co-chaired by the Minister of Women's Affairs and in other colleagues of us in the government. That will play a support role. Of course, the agenda for that subcommittee is a broad agenda, but we can help this aspect of women's life, business and entrepreneurship as well, and make it an agenda for that subcommittee. At the same time, I would like to thank the international partners of Afghanistan, led by the United States, but also many countries and entities where their representatives are present here for standing with the people of Afghanistan, with women in Afghanistan, in support of our efforts. The environment, because of security challenges and because of certain other challenges that we are faced with, it's not an easy environment. What can make conditions, what can turn difficult conditions into opportunities, will be our collective efforts altogether. And there, the hopes of the young Afghan women and men and young and experienced entrepreneurs of Afghanistan will guide us towards this path. The certain other factors, like the fact that qualified women are joining the leadership position more and more in the Afghan government. Yesterday, when Mrs. Narges Nihan was introduced as acting Minister of Mines and Natural Resources, that's an important step, and I can assure you that we will take further steps in this regard. And though the presidential elections are further away, the presence of women in the tickets for the presidential elections will also be very helpful. That will be another step, which hopefully Afghanistan will witness it in a few years' time. For the parliamentary elections, in the electoral reform process, one of the areas that was very vivid in our mind is providing equal opportunities for Afghan women, and also supporting the role of women to be able to participate, to be able to vote and represent the people of Afghanistan. That's the upcoming elections, which work is underway. There are lots of talks about it, that the Afghan government doesn't have the political will. I can assure you that there is a strong political will there. There is a lot of work underway with our international partners. The IEC is playing its own central role in this regard, and we are considering the use of technology, which will ensure the transparency of the elections, all of that. And as I mentioned at the beginning, that it's not the role of women in business. It's not a standalone issue. Every other factor affects it, including the political situation. And the upcoming parliamentary elections is another opportunity for Afghan women to prove themselves and to step forward and to take a further step in this regard. As far as our national programs are concerned, the women empowerment is part of our national priority programs. In the Citizen Charter, which later on the Minister for Rural Development will talk about it, the role of the women has been considered as the main part of the program. And at the same time, in other areas, the promote, which covers a wide range of measures in support of the in empowerment of women, including in the entrepreneurial sector. That in itself is another opportunity. The strengthening the role of women in providing a secure environment, whether it is in business, whether it is in government or in the society. You are aware of the certain steps which have been taken in terms of the our legislative branch in the certain acts passed by the Parliament, which are a step forward, but more than that, it's implementation of the laws of the country, from the constitutions to the laws of the country that will create a secure environment. The role of women in the security sector, the ministers which are present here today, they will be a witness that in every other meeting of Council of Ministers, we talk and I stress on the working environment for women within the ministries. That is extremely important that they will be able to function without worries about being harassed or discriminated against. It's extremely important and critical. Sometimes back, women entrepreneurs had suggested that they will have their own chambers of commerce, national chambers of commerce to be established. We supported the idea, but also I suggested that to begin with, we should strengthen the role of women in the existing Afghan chambers of commerce, and then move beyond that when it is when time allows. But as a whole, the interactions of other social, political, and cultural forces which require to be highlighted could be debated during your 3 days forum, and guidance, the findings of your forum, it should be shared widely with us, with the Afghan government, and we will help to publicize it further. But at the same time, and even more important than publicizing it, see what steps could be taken in order to advance those goals and to address the challenges which are there, and to create opportunities. Once again, I stress on your collective power as women of this country, women in the government, women in the parliament, in the business, in the society, in the civil society, in the education system, in all together. You have an undeniable power and impact you have already made big impacts in developments in Afghanistan in different fields of life, but make use of it more often in order to advance the shared goals of us. And that's because the experience of today's world shows that in countries where women have strived in different fields of life, including business, the countries have strived, the nations have strived. And for us, as a country which was affected by war, in conflict, and it's almost 40 years now, and we lost a lot of talent, lost a lot of migrations, refugees, internally displaced people. All of these conditions which prevailed in Afghanistan in the past 40 years, it requires us to work harder in more innovative way in order to shorten the road ahead of us, the time ahead of us, in order to be able to catch up. That potential is there in the Afghan women, in Afghan men, in our nation, and I wish you success. And once again, I want to thank the International Center for Afghan Women Economic Development, American University of Afghanistan, for providing this opportunity for working together in coming at the end of the forum with strategies, guidelines, action plans, and to help us in this field. We will be with you. We will be supportive. At the same time, I would like to thank all our partners, international donors, for their support in this field. And amongst our international guests, the Ambassador Mawani is here, Ambassador of India is here, Ambassador Wahra, and all these colleagues of us, the countries that they represent, the entities that they represent, has been with us in helping us in stabilization of our country, contributed in economic development, in democratic process, and altogether creating an environment that women and men of the society of the country can live in peace, in dignity. They are our partners, and I would like to thank all international donors and partners for their stand, for their support for Afghanistan. Nevertheless, Afghanistan is faced with lots of challenges. Afghanistan has been invaded by terrorist organizations, supported by certain entities. Afghan people are suffering, and Afghan women are suffering on daily basis. But what makes us more hopeful, it is that energy, it's that hope, it's that drive in the Afghan women who have not surrendered to the conditions and circumstances, who have risen up and stood in the face of the enormous challenges that they are faced with. But you are not alone. Afghan men are not the Afghan men of, let's say, a few decades back, that will have a discriminatory look towards Afghan women. There are still issues, there are still challenges, but the driving force for all of us is what we have learned in our own history, in what's the finding of the mankind, that without the role and without the rightful place of women in all sectors of life, countries cannot develop. Also to mention that as part of our sustainable development goals, which is part of our commitment, we are pursuing the role of women in this field. So I wish you success. Thank you for your participation, and have lively debates afterwards, after these formal speeches are over, and pinpoint. Don't be shy of criticizing us. You are not, I'm sure, but be sure that we will be responsive in the right way. Thank you very much.